All right, today we're going to dive into a really radical philosophy of justice. I mean, this is a system that challenges some of the most basic ideas we have about law. It is built on a set of incredibly stark, uncompromising principles, and we're going to break it all down, piece by piece. So let's get right into it.
Everything starts with this one sentence, and you have to understand this isn't just some vague guideline. This is the central axis, the North Star. The entire philosophy of punishment we're about to explore revolves around this. Every single rule, every consequence, it all flows directly from this one very clear idea.
So, right off the bat, this philosophy picks a fight with a cornerstone of most modern legal systems, what's known as Blackstone's ratio. For centuries, the idea has been that it's way better to let guilty people go free than to punish even one innocent person. Well, the source material we're looking at doesn't just disagree with that, it rejects it completely and very forcefully. And that one single rejection sets the stage for a totally different way of looking at justice.
So, how does this actually work in practice? Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to start with that foundational principle we just saw. Then, we'll look at why it demands that justice be swift, public, and cheap. After that, we'll explore something called the ladder of punishment, and finally, we'll see exactly which crimes this system says deserve the ultimate penalty.
Okay, first up, that foundational principle. Again, everything in this system is engineered to do one thing above all else: make absolutely sure the guilty get punished. So, how do you build a system to do that?
Well, that leads us directly to the process of justice itself. If your main goal is punishing the guilty, how do you design the system? According to this source, the answer is you make it three things: swift, public, and cheap.
And when they say swift, they are not kidding. Just look at this timeline. It is incredibly compressed. A trial? It's over in one day. Any appeals? They're all finished within a week. And the punishment itself is carried out inside that same week. There's just no time for delays.
But why this obsession with speed? What's the rush? Well, the source gives a very clear reason. It claims that lawyers have a vested financial interest in making trials drag on for as long as possible. So this system is specifically designed to take that incentive away by making those delays impossible.
Now, beyond just being fast, the whole process rests on these three pillars. Justice has to be public. It has to be seen, using open display, even humiliation, as a tool. It has to be cheap, so it's not a big burden on taxpayers. And it needs to be simple, with the absolute minimum amount of paperwork. So that's the how. Now let's talk about the what. So if that's the process, what are the actual consequences? The source lays them out in a very clear hierarchy, what it calls a ladder of punishment that escalates pretty quickly from fines to force.
And here is that ladder. It starts with something we all recognize, fines, but it moves very quickly to public humiliation. We're talking about things like being put in stocks in the public square. From there, it escalates to being exiled or deported, then to corporal punishment, and right at the very top, capital punishment. You really notice the emphasis on public and physical consequences here.
But you know, even that ladder of official punishments isn't the whole story. The source also argues for another layer here. This idea that immediate, on-the-spot punishment is actually better than going through the formal judicial process, even the super fast one we just looked at.
And this slide gives us some pretty vivid examples of what that on-the-spot justice is supposed to look like. It can be something as simple as on-the-spot fines for small stuff, but it can also be more aggressive measures like using paintball pellets on people who are running away or rioting, and what the source calls the judicious use of the nightstick by police.
And that brings us to the final rung on the ladder, the ultimate penalty. The source is incredibly specific about which crimes it believes are so serious that they warrant the death penalty.
This list is pretty striking for how broad it is. It includes the kinds of violent crimes you might expect, like multiple homicides and serial rape. It also includes drug trafficking and organized child sexual abuse. But what's really fascinating here is how it puts nonviolent crimes against the state on that exact same level. Bribery by an official, lying in court, even fraud against the state for as little as $1,000. All of these are considered worthy of death. So when you pull it all together, what you have is a system built on a few really clear ideas. The certainty of punishment is more important than protecting the innocent. The process values speed above everything else, and the consequences are designed to be public, severe, and unforgettable. And that leaves us with this final question to think about. When you look at this entire framework, from its core belief all the way to its ultimate penalties, what does a society built on these principles value most? Is it order? Is it deterrence? pure and simple retribution? The answer isn't easy, but the question really gets to the very heart of this whole radical philosophy.